its staff, management, or parent company, iHeartMedia Incorporated.
Statements made during this broadcast regarding products or the claims made about specific products have not been evaluated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Products and treatments discussed are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. Make your physician aware of all nutritional supplements used and immediately notify your physician if you have any health concern or undiagnosed sign or symptom. Let's Talk Nutrition is a health talk show that features scientists, authors, nutrition specialists, personal trainers, holistic healers, and experts in traditional, natural, and integrative medicine. Listen for a chance to win daily prizes and follow Let's Talk Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition or on Twitter at LTN Radio. It's time for some inspiration. Tune in to get fit and healthy. It's time to talk about nutrition. Nutrition for your body, your mind, your spirit. It's time to talk about proper exercise, stress relief, eating well, and supplementation to help. Get ready to take charge of your health because your health is your wealth and the wealth of those who care about and love you. It's time for Let's Talk Nutrition with Dr. Michael Garko. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in. What does that guy say? The opinions, viewpoints, and promises.
Yeah.
They're not responsible. Well, okay. Our opinions, our viewpoints, and I don't know if we're making any promises. The only promise I make around here is to offer and present the best we can each day, 5 days a week, 2 hours a day, live, coast to coast and globally, is that 1, tell the truth as I know it, 2, be sincere, and 3, let each member of the audience, viewer or listener, know that I care about them. That's the only promise I can make. And this is an evidence-based, principle-based, relying on principles-based show. Welcome to the show. They want to get off the hook, as if we're going to say crazy stuff around here. We're not going to say anything or do. We don't do that. We don't do that show. We want to stay on the air. We want you to come back. We want to tell you about things that work. We want to tell you about things that have credibility, people that have credibility, that you can put some trust in. Is it perfect? No. I'm not going to let perfection get in the way of doing the best we can. We'll room for improvement, all by way of saying that we're doing our best and we'll continue to do the same. Hope you're having a good day and doing the best you can with your health, your wellness, and your well-being, working at it, trying to be as consistent as you can. Consistency. Getting into, routines aren't bad things. Routines are good things.
Were you at my gym this morning?
Was I in the gym this morning?
And I said, were you at my gym this morning?
No. No.
I'm getting ready to bench press, and I'm you know how you take a minute, you concentrate, and you're like, okay. And you're going to do this. This lady walks up, never met her before, and she goes, you know what the difference is between you being here and everybody else that's not here? And I'm like, no. She goes, you continue to come here. And she goes, that's why. She goes, I've noticed you've lost a significant amount of weight. You're leaning up and everything. And she goes, it's being consistent.
Consistency.
And it's funny that you said that because she said the same thing.
It is consistency, Gary. She's right. It's funny. She just walked up unsolicited, right?
Unsolicited. And I'm telling you what I was doing. I was like this, and I was thinking a moment, and I was getting ready to reach back and
grab the weight.
And she goes, it's all about being consistent.
That's part of it. That's one of the principles that I rely upon for the show. We want to be consistent on the show, but also to use that principle to weave and thread that principle into the fabric, into the narrative of the show, whenever and however I can. And it is about consistency, among other things that I talk about. Being consistent, doing this, If you're going to take your supplements, try to take them every day. If you're going to go to the gym, you try to go every day. If you're going to, whatever. And to do it each day, no matter what. No excuses. Nothing gets in the way. You do it. Hard to do.
Yes.
It's hard to do. The temptations abound. At every bend and turn, there'll be something to tempt you or divert you, draw your attention away, or give you an opportunity to make an excuse.
Right.
I know. I'm right there with you. I get it. I'm human just like you. I fall, those temptations present themselves to me as well. We're getting ready to go to California this week. Late in the week, we're going to attend the Expo West Natural Products Trade Show, the largest trade show in the world. So I started my workout routines that I didn't take the weekend off, and started training over the weekend, and will train till Wednesday and up my training time by a half hour so that I could make sure that I got everything in before we left. I didn't have to worry about having to train on Thursday and Friday and not getting it in. So that's what that's what I'm talking about. Now that takes effort. Does that make me, I would have rather have done other things on Sunday, for example, than be in that gym for 2 hours. But it's commitment. Because I believe in what I'm doing, and that's it. So that's, if you're new to the show, you'll catch on as to what drives the show. And this is all by way of a setup to talk about an article I came across this morning. The headline on it was, "The best way to lose weight boils down to these three things." Samantha Cassidy, she's a registered dietitian, apparently, wrote the piece. She makes some good points. I'll share them with you. And again, I take an evidence-based, principle-based approach to nutrition, to diet, to lifestyle, to health, wellness, and well-being. Easy to have opinions and spout them off, but show me the data. What can I offer you that will persuade you that what I'll share with you today, my take on this article, and what I think the three things are that really boil down weight loss, reducing down to what? What three things, if you want to use three things. So we'll get into that today. We invite you, as always, to join the conversation. We love it when you call.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, on Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Let's Talk Nutrition. That's the only thing that's three words, by the way, with the hyphenated S. Let's Talk Nutrition. Everything is closed captioned, and
I missed that. What are you talking about?
Everything else is just Let's Talk Nutrition, one word. And then the YouTube channel is Let's L-A-T apostrophe S.
Oh, you have to use the apostrophe.
Have to use the apostrophe. Talk Nutrition, all three words. So
we're on YouTube, Facebook, and of course our website. We stream live onto those three platforms, and the company that boosts us up onto those platforms, its website. So we're global, and we get about 30. We still there at 30?
About 30.
Is it about 30,000 a day?
It fluctuates because we have no control of the audience. So it's
between what?
About 25 and 32.
Okay.
25,000 and 32 daily.
25,000 to 32,000 daily, somewhere in there. We figure somewhere around 30. I say 30. It's a round number. It's about 30, about 1 million hits a month on the stream. And those people find their way to the stream, and from the stream they find their way. They find it from the radio, and from the stream they go back to the radio and back. They toggle back and forth. It's interesting to watch.
It is. It's very interesting. One is, like my buddy, he caught us down in Antarctica.
Right. We've appeared now on all 7 continents. So that's what we do and how we do it. This article The best way to lose weight boils down to these three things. That was the title of the piece, or the headline on it. And Samantha Cassidy apparently is a registered dietitian, so I'm giving her attribution for the piece. And she references a study that I referenced to, the Stanford study, where they put people on a low-fat or a low-carb diet. What was the punchline of that study? What was the bottom line? What was the bottom line? The bottom line was that it didn't make any difference. Consistency. Go back to consistency. If you, no matter what, whether it's a low-carb ketogenic diet or or a low-fat diet, you just have to stick with it. And then she goes, it didn't make any difference. But she believes there are three she calls them commandments, that cross over all types of weight loss approaches. I agree with her, and I disagree.
Did you?
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Figure's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Dieting is not a successful, scientifically and clinically proven method of achieving sustained, long-term weight loss. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Please pay attention to my language. Notice what I said. Dieting is not a successful, scientifically and clinically proven method of achieving sustained, long-term weight loss. That's the bad news. The worst news is that not only do fad diets or these weight loss diets hinder the achievement of successful weight loss or otherwise counterproductive for you, but they most often lead to certain consequences and habits that are not good, like weight cycling. Gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, back and forth, and get you into a real bad groove and downward spiral. Not good. This article that I'm referring to this morning by Samantha Cassidy, don't know the woman, she's a registered dietitian, says that there are, she says, 3 commandments that cross over all types of weight loss approaches. I'll give them to you. 1, 2, 3. Eat more vegetables, eat less sugar, eat more whole foods. That's not bad advice. I think I would take this a different way. I could take the first 2. I would say to you, one principle to follow in wanting to lose weight is to eat a whole food, to eat a diet that is more of a whole food, plant-based diet. That will take care of the vegetables. That will take care of the sugar part of it. And it takes care of her third point. Eat more whole foods. Eat more of a whole food, plant-based diet. If you do that, that sort of sums up the 3 points that she was trying. I did it in one principle. Eat more of a plant-based whole food plant-based diet. If you really want to lose weight, I would say eat a whole food plant-based diet, no meat, no dairy. You will lose weight, you will keep it off, and you will not have to go on a diet again. And if you have heart disease, no oil. Now, that's tough. Some people say that's just too much. I can't do it. Well, it doesn't have to be 100% whole food plant-based diet. No meat, no dairy. You could do a modified version of it. The point is to eat more plant-based foods, whole foods, more vegetables, more legumes, more fruit, right? Whole grains, not whole wheat, whole grains. Built into that overall strategy is the tactic of what? Including more fiber in your diet. You cannot lose weight long term and maintain your health without that principle of, or that tactic of including more fiber in your diet. That is the key. That's the biggest well-kept secret of all time. And a whole food plant-based diet, if you eat that more of that than not, you're going to work in fiber into your diet 35, 40, 45 grams a day, soluble and insoluble. That's the principle. It does a couple of things. One, you don't suffer as much in terms of hunger because it will make you feel full. Secondly, it will help you to manage blood glucose and insulin levels. That is a key to losing weight. You cannot, that's why Samantha Cassidy says, eat less sugar. What she's getting at there, indirectly, is blood glucose insulin management. That's a key. You see, I'm using principles that will dictate what you will eat, what you can eat, should eat, avoid, and so on. These are dietary and nutritional principles. It's chemistry, man, and it's biology. No tricks, no gimmicks, no magic show here. Magic is very entertaining, but you know what? It's not real. And that's what fad diets are. They're a magic trick. And in the long run, don't work. They don't. They just don't. For the majority of people who get hooked into those things, doesn't happen. And so her point's well taken. So what am I saying to you? The principles to follow here: eat a whole food as much as you can. I would say if you can't eliminate meat, I would say 75% of your diet should be a whole food plant-based diet. The other 25% you can screw around with whatever you want. You want to include meat? Have at it. And to eating a whole food plant-based diet is going to crowd out your cravings. It will crowd out the processed foods that you're going to, sometimes buy that get you into trouble, that contain a lot of salt, sugar, and fat. So you see how I approached it? I get what she's saying. That's why I said whether I agree and I disagree. She's on the right track, but I think you follow me. We'll be right back.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends: Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension. Exclusively available on Amazon.com.
leading cause of primary chronic diseases and early death is a four-letter word. Not that one. Diet. Diet is the leading cause of chronic diseases, heart disease, cancer, for example, and early death. Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Make no mistake about it. That's a point of view that I have, and I can support that point of view with a lot of evidence. And I'm not alone in that point of view. I can get Dr. Michael Greger to make the argument. For example, he makes a similar argument. Diet is the driving force for health, wellness, and well-being. There's no ambiguity about this. We all need to stop looking for that fountain of youth, the holy grail of longevity, and all of that. Marco Polo and whatever. Or was it Marco Polo looking for the fountain of youth? Who was
Ponce
that?
de Leon.
Ponce de Leon, right, down here in Florida.
4'5".
He came to the hotel and there was a fountain, and that one, no, just kidding. Ponce de Leon. No, there is no, it's diet. It is the driving force. Read Michael Crawford's book, The Driving Force. Read about diet. Read about food. He thinks it drove evolution. Michael Crawford's pretty smart. My guest is Shauna Wall. She's an educator for New Chapter, and she's going to talk about something that's sort of related to what I'm talking about, in a sense. And this whole note, and some people are big fans of eating fermented foods. And now in the dietary supplement industry, some company, New Chapter's been doing it since forever, offering fermented-based, formulated dietary supplements. Makes a difference. Fermentation has a long history. Hundreds and thousands of years, humans have used fermentation as a way to do things with food that otherwise we wouldn't be able to do, or eat these certain foods and keep them preserved and whatnot. Turns out fermentation does things that chemically can improve the nutritional value of foods. Shauna, welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you back on.
Well, thank you. It's always lovely to be your guest.
Well, it's lovely to have you. Diet is the leading cause of death.
Living is the leading cause of death. Oh, just thought I'd start with a joke. Oh, yes, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, well, you say of course. If you just think about that for a second, diet, the leading cause of death, or of disease and early death. Diet.
Well, I think here's the thing. We've learned so much in the past several years about particularly like epigenetics, right? And how, you say you are cellularly programmed to have, a particular non-favorable trait. Diet can either turn that on or turn that off. Right? So that was what was coming to the forefront of my mind when you said that. It was like, oh yeah, like it's more than just like eating your 9 servings of fruits and veggies every day. There's a whole science that's looking into this propensity right now.
I'll tell you a story, and I want to get your reaction to it. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer death in the United States. Okay? Colorectal cancer. Yeah. Lung cancer is number 1. Okay. African Americans suffer a greater incidence of colon cancer than native Africans. Africans that live on the African continent, compared to African Americans, do better in not suffering from colorectal cancer. All right? colon cancer is quite rare in native African populations. People need to think about that for a second. I want to repeat what I just said. Colon cancer is rare, very rare in native African cultures or populations. In fact, it's somewhere more than 50 times lower than in terms of rates than Americans, Caucasian or black. 50 times lower. Now you have to think for a second. Is it what? They're just living on the African continent? Is that it? Now, the modern African diet, as time has gone on, though, on the continent, it's become more processed, and it's lower in fiber. But yet, they have not experienced an increase in colon cancer. Now, you would think that as they have moved away in some of these populations on the African continent, as they move more, as civilization has set in and moved more toward the processed diet, you would think that they'd have more colon cancer. They don't. So you'd say, okay, so that blows up your argument about fiber, Dr. Garko. You just got done saying fiber is wonderful and their fiber intake is lower. Now this all begs the question, why is it they're taking about half the recommended daily allowance of fiber in many of these African populations? Yet colon disease still remains rare in Africa. It's still 50 times less. There's still 50 times less colon cancer there than in our country. Why? It's diet. Do you think you know what the answer? There's one food group that they don't eat a lot of that contributes to this. You think you could guess what it is?
I do. You want me to answer? Or
Yeah, you.
Oh, it's got to be fermented foods.
Well, in a sense, no. You're sort of right. You're sort of right. When you come back, I'll give you the answer, and it starts with I'll give you the answer. This
fascinated.
This is intriguing. It's intriguing.
Right, it is. The mystery.
Be mindful that on the African continent, there were tribes. They were consuming 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 grams of fiber a day. A day. And as time has gone on, some tribes have moved away from that, eating more processed foods. Still, they're able to maintain pretty good health and don't suffer from colon cancer the way we do. Come back, I'll give you this goes to my point about diet. It is the driving force.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Figures Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Wall's my guest in this for the rest of the show. I enjoy having her on. I like guests who are curious, and they don't show up with pretension, being pretentious, and knowing it all, and they're open. That's so much easier to deal with because we got to stay open-minded. We're all here to learn. Shauna, welcome back. So I'm sharing with Shauna, if you just tuned in, I'm telling her a story. And the story is about people on the African continent. And they've had this long reputation of having low rates of colorectal cancer and diets that are high in fiber over the years. And African Americans suffer a far greater rate of colon cancer than native Africans do. But as modern Africa has become more modernized and civilized, they've moved away from eating a lot of fiber and eating more processed foods, but still have a very low rate of colorectal cancer. The question is, why? Shauna, welcome back. And the answer is, I don't know if you thought about it, what would cause them to still have a low rate of colorectal cancer, even though they're eating more processed foods that contain less fiber? I don't know if you thought or reflected on it, want to take another stab at it. But
well, I mean, I went right to like activity levels, and I just started spinning out because I thought I was right.
Well, because it's they're thinner and exercise more. No, no, they're not. They don't. Their physical activities may be levels may be even lower now than they once were. You know what it is? Meat.
What?
Meat.
Really?
Meat. The diet of both African Americans and Caucasian Americans is what? High in meat. On the African continent, not so much. On the African native Africans' diet is so low in meat and saturated fat, and they have total cholesterol levels averaging about 139 compared to 200 in the U.S.
Huh.
It's the meat and saturated fat that still keeps them out of that statistical category, leading statistical category for colon cancer. Isn't that something?
It really is. It is. But here's the thing. So to go back to your fiber comment, right? Like I would wonder if just by default, if someone's naturally filling their digestive system with more meat, you're going to have less fiber because you're not eating as much plant food.
Well, not only that.
No?
Not only that. You're right, because when you start eating more of one category of food, you crowd out other ones, right?
Right.
You can only eat so much unless you want to become morbidly obese.
Right.
But the meat, it's about the meat and the saturated fat for them. And guess what? And for anybody. So when I say diet is the driving force, I'm just using that little story, that one small example to show what a driving force it is. Of course, you know that. I'm preaching to the director of the choir when I talk to you. But let's go to Jenkintown and talk to Mike. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Yes, hello, Doctor.
Good. Good. Nice to talk to you. How are you today? Good.
It's about this diet and weight loss.
Yes.
I'd like to give it a little tip to people who struggle with this.
Okay.
It's three very important
principles. Okay. You heard me talking about that. You heard me talking.
What eat. Number two, when eat. And number three, how to eat.
What to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. You know what? You're absolutely right. That's a good point, what you're talking about. When to eat, what to eat, and how to eat. Is that what you said?
Yes. Everybody say the little kids know how to eat, but not in this way. Taking food in mouth, swallow, and
not chewing the food.
It's how to eat, what eat with what.
What to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. You're absolutely right. That constitutes, those are at least three variables. There are more, that constitute our relationship with food. What we eat, when we eat, how we eat, where we eat, with whom we eat, why we eat, all of those variables and a few other ones constitute our relationship with food, which can be wholesome or not wholesome. But your point's well taken, Michael.
And can I recommend it's a good book?
Sure, absolutely.
Information about this.
Yes, what is it?
It's Fit for a Life.
Fit for Life. I'm familiar.
From Harvey Diamond.
Yes, I am familiar with that book.
It's got two books, book 1 and book 2, New Beginning.
Okay, and who's the author? Who's the author?
It's Harvey Diamond.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with those with that book or those.
Very good book.
Part 1 and part. Yes.
For beautiful information about everything.
Has it helped you?
Yes, that's very, very good.
Well, good, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you for calling. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for your show. You helped me a lot. I was 72 and I don't use any medicine.
Well, good for you.
And I'm in good shape.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Michael. Thank you so much.
Keep it listening again.
All right, Michael.
It's okay. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend.
You do the same. So there you go. See, people paying attention, and he's right about our relationship with food. He focused on 3 principles. So there's another principle that is very important, fermentation, right, Shauna?
Right, and that's what I thought that we were getting at, because I mean, maybe I'm just a little, biased because I work for New Chapter, and Paul Schulich, who founded the company decades and decades ago, is so passionate about fermentation that it's something we study very often, and always come back to cultures that consume fermented foods, fermented herbs are in much better health than those that aren't. So I thought there was going to be a natural tie-in.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, what you're talking about.
Fermentation. So that's why you're on here, because you probably forgot more about that than I know, and that's why you're here. And we'll explore it, break it down, and how it makes its way not only into our food culture, but how it makes its way into the manufacture and the formulation of dietary supplements, especially those at New Chapter, and how it's a game changer, how it really does change the nature of the supplements. Shauna Wall will be with us again in the second hour. When we come up to the top of the hour, we'll break for your local stations for news, weather, and whatever else they're doing, and then we'll come back, and we have another hour to go today. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. We're coast to coast, including Hawaii, and we're global. And we'll look for you to come back at the second hour. Your health is your wealth. I'll see you in a moment. welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in today. Shauna Wall, Educated for a New Chapter, is my guest today, and she's going to be talking about fermentation. I was sharing with her a little story about the African continent and what goes on there, and colorectal cancer, colon cancer, and what is happening. If you want to catch that, everything's archived at letstalknutrition.com. Gary will give that information in a moment. She's going to be talking about fermentation. Before I bring her back on and have Gary share with you how to connect with the show, and I want to share with you something about the African continent and fermentation in light of the theme that she wants to focus on.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Don't forget, if you have Alexia, you can have Alexia go to Let's Talk Nutrition and have them play the show for you. That's a new feature we just started a couple weeks ago. Also, you can follow us on and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Talk Nutrition, where everything is archived and closed captioned. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition.
Okay, so there's all kinds of ways to connect.
You got Alexia yet?
I have not. I have not spoken with her. I intend to.
I still fight with Siri, so.
Yeah, I know. Siri, Alexa, and so on. And then we have Shauna. Shauna Wall is my guest. Shauna, welcome back to the show. In light of your theme, and I was talking about African continent and Native Africans and whatnot, Africa has an age-old history of production of traditional fermented foods. And this one article saying perhaps the continent with the richest variety of lactic acid fermented foods. It turns out that in Africa, lactic acid fermentation processes have survived for centuries there because it serves as a household technology for improving food safety. It serves as a low-cost method of food preservation. It contributes to the improvement of nutritional value and digestibility of food raw materials. This is according to an article, although a little dated. It was written back in 1997 by Olusola Oyiwol. And it's called Lactic Fermented Foods in Africa and Their Benefits. So fermentation, at least on the African continent, is prevalent and important. So I just thought I'd lay that in there in light of connecting what we were talking about with what you want to talk about today.
Yeah. You know, one of my favorite stories is a friend of mine who, when she was younger, decided to go do Peace Corps in Africa, and she was scheduled to work with the Namibian tribe of Herero people, and so all these young, eager, American teenagers or college-age people get off the plane, and there's this big ceremony, welcoming all of these people to help their community. And the Herero have a traditional drink, which is to essentially, the cows are very important to these tribes, and so they take cow's milk, raw cow's milk, and let it ferment inside of these hollowed-out gourds for about 3 or 4 days in the sun, and then you drink it. It's considered, one of their, it makes you strong and vigor, and it's very, very healthy. But you can imagine my friend's shock and dismay at what is, a very helpful traditional drink in Namibia was not so well received by, these
American students, yes,
who aren't used to that, right?
It's funny you mention this because in the article they mention non-cereal based lactic acid fermented foods in Africa: root crops, milk, goat milk, cow milk, sheep milk, and vegetables and other foods that are non-cereal based. Right, the cereal-based ones would include maize, sorghum, millet, rice, wheat, and what they call teff. But you're right. It's funny you mention that. They talk about that, how they ferment the foods in the article, just as you described it. Unbelievable.
It's fascinating. fascinating.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, we came by this very, very naturally. And, to the layperson's mind, it's like, all right, well, if you put milk in a gourd and leave it in the sun for 3 days, like, that's just going to turn into a rotten mess, right? And the truth of the matter is that, well, one, they're using raw cow's milk, right? So there's already all this good, healthy bacteria in that milk, just like there is in human milk when we're nursing or breastfeeding our babies. So that's one, it's this raw milk. And then secondly, the bacteria that are actually fermenting this milk are producing compounds called bacteriocins, which are like nature's antibiotics. So they kind of kill off the bad bugs while preserving the good ones, and so you get this like really, really thick, rich, pretty sour fermented drink, but it is certainly, very densely nutritious and not at all rotten, right? Like if we were to take our pasteurized milk out of the fridge and put it in a bowl and leave it in the sun for 3 days, it's going to be gross, right?
Yeah. Well, it turns out lactic acid fermented products in the African continent, in this article, it's pointed out, constitute the bulk of foods given to children and generally form part of the daily main dishes of the average individual in Africa. So fermentation is alive and well there. How does it make its way into the narrative with New Chapter, a dietary supplement company?
Well, truthfully, Paul Schulich, who I mentioned earlier is the company's founder, and he still heads up formulation today, he had a pretty sensitive digestive system, and still does. But growing up, he recognized that he actually couldn't drink milk, right? But he could drink yogurt. He couldn't eat, soy, but he could take tempeh. So he really became fascinated with fermentation because he could eat the fermented counterparts of these different foods. So really diving into the world of fermentation while he was owning a health food store and selling vitamins that weren't differentiated. They really weren't any different than what you could get at the pharmacy down the road. And so he kind of like had this aha moment coming across a lot of research about fermented vitamins and minerals, and that they are much more active in your body. Your cells know what to do with them. They're not going to upset your stomach, etc. That was New Chapter's first, I'll guess, the first way we entered the sphere of fermented supplements was through that, and still is, through our really popular certified organic whole food fermented multivitamins. And now, because Paul also is an herbalist, first and foremost, and so although New Chapter has a lot of different supplements, we really primarily are an herbal company, in our hearts and in our roots. So combining herbs and fermentation is actually also something that's been done in the Ayurvedic tradition. It's often done in the traditional culture of Okinawa. Fermenting turmeric is very popular. So Paul looked at the fact that this was missing so greatly in the Western diet and said, "Hey, we're kind of the pioneering experts in this field, in the supplements, fermented supplements and herbs, and let's see what we can do together." And so we just came out with this beautiful line. I'm actually eating some right now of fermented herbal powders.
Like what?
Well, fermented turmeric to stay in line with the traditional Okinawan culture, right? People who
you're eating it out of the container?
Sometimes. No, I put it in my smoothie in the morning, but I do sometimes just sprinkle it right on top of what I'm eating because it's quite pleasant tasting. I'll pop it on some yogurt.
Do you use
toast?
I'll have you come back and explain further. Do you use lactic acid fermentation? Or no?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Well, lactic fermentation improves the nutritional status of foods. Apparently improves the nutritional status of supplements, but in foods, it detoxification of food raw materials to make them more safe. It improves the functional properties of food, and improves the digestibility and nutritional value of food products. Apparently does some of the same things to supplements.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Zymology. Zymology. If you're on a quiz show and somebody asked you that and you knew the answer to that, they thought you Zymology is related to our topic today with Shauna Wall. It's the study of fermentation. Okay? It's an applied science which studies the biochemical processes, who knew, of fermentation. and its practical uses. In the world of zymology, you're going to have the selection of fermenting yeast and bacteria species, and their use in brewing, winemaking, fermenting milk, and making other fermented foods, for example, and it goes on and on. Zymology. There you go. Shauna, welcome back.
Thanks.
So your theme is a zymological theme today, in case you wanted to know.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I've always just heard it say, like, people call themselves, like, fermentationists and fermentologists. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's a real thing, but now we know what the real thing is. The
real thing is zymology. That is the study of fermentation. There you go. Go ahead.
There we go.
So you were alluding to New Chapter. They have these fermented products. You were mentioning turmeric and whatnot. What do you all have up there? What did you all cook up?
We cooked up the best, as usual, Dr. Gargo. So here's the thing, right? New Chapter, and we believe very, very firmly in both tradition as well as science. So traditionally, many cultures have consumed fermented herbs. In the Ayurvedic medical tradition, they are called arishtams. In Okinawa, I don't know what they call it, but every single day there is consumption of fermented turmeric. And so, starting with that base, New Chapter started looking at our extensive herbal formulary and our fermentation capabilities and said, people in the West are really not eating very much fermented foods, like kombucha is kind of making a comeback, but, other than that, it's not something that we consume on a day-to-day basis. Perhaps we can make this really easy. And so, starting with that premise, we then came up with a line of fermented herbal powders, starting with the fermented turmeric, right? And then we also have a fermented aloe, fermented maca, fermented black seed, and aligning with New Chapter's principle of acknowledging science, right? We don't actually launch products into the marketplace for our retailers to sell until we have had some scientific backing showing that, wow, yeah, there's something going on here, and it is better and it is more active than the non-fermented counterparts.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's more active? What does that mean?
Yeah, so for example, if you were to take the turmeric powder in your kitchen cupboard, right, which is incredible, I hope people cook with it because there's a lot of benefit to doing so, but if you were to then measure that activity of that kitchen spice, whether it be the amount of curcumin in it or how it activates your antioxidant response in the cells of your body or how it turns on nerve 2, etc., it's going to be active. However, when you ferment that very same kitchen spice, New Chapter has seen that activity quadruple just through the fermentation process.
Wow. You caught my attention. Fermented black seed. I'm a big fan. I've gotten, and you know who taught me about that, right?
Who's that?
Somebody you know.
Paul.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, he did. And you have a fermented black seed. Can you shed some light on that a little bit more? What do we have here?
Absolutely. So New Chapter was really intrigued by black seed, and we launched the Golden Black Seed product earlier this year. We call it Golden Black Seed because it's a very specific combination of both black seed, which is Nigella sativa, as well as turmeric. And that particular combination is incredibly potent. So looking at the benefits of black seed, and there are so many. I mean, black seed, as you know, Dr. Gargo, has been called a miracle herb, right? There's really literally nothing that this plant seemingly can't do to improve human health and wellness.
Well, I found one thing it can't do.
What?
Find me a good date. Does everything else, though.
Well, you haven't called its cousin yet.
It does everything else, though. It's great. No, you get my point.
It'll do everything but find you a date. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to start working.
No, I said good date. A good date. A good one, not just a date.
Wait, good data?
Well, data too.
Oh my God!
Find a date with good data is very good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No,
black seed is growing tremendously right now. I think it's growing like 200% because people are very curious about it, and for good reason. I mean, from helping to reduce body weight, waist circumference, blood pressure, give you more energy. There's been notes about its antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, it's renal protective, liver protective, tremendous like on and on and on.
It's an ancient herb. It's most of these
really
herbs are
is,
ancient,
yeah.
but it truly is.
Yeah, I think it was written about in the Quran, actually, and Muhammad said it's a cure for everything but death.
See, I was close.
Very close. Very close.
He's talking about death. I'm talking about dates.
Oh, dear.
Well, I'm just saying. We try to keep it real around here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm racking my brain right now thinking about who I know down in Florida.
Oh, my God. Please. We're going to see Paul, God willing, this Saturday in California, and we're going to attend a talk in the morning at a breakfast. Gary and I are going to go. So we'll come back. Let's talk nutrition coast to coast and globally.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Fermentation, well, you think, boy, that topic is a snoozer. Not so much. It's a metabolic process that consumes sugar in the absence of oxygen, is one way to talk about it. And the products are organic acids, gases, or alcohol. According to this one source I'm looking at, it occurs in yeast and bacteria, and also it occurs in oxygen-starved muscle cells. Oh, as in the case of lactic acid fermentation. As I said earlier, the science of fermentation is called zymology, in case you wanted to know. And you know those microorganisms, the ones we can't see? Fermentation is the primary means by which they do what? Make ATP, adenosine triphosphate, by degrading of organic nutrients anaerobically. They gotta live and eat too. That's how they do it. Humans use fermentation to make drinks, beverages since the Neolithic age. Humans have been messing around with this stuff. You know, when we make sour foods, and the lactic acid can make like pickled cucumbers and kimchi, yogurt, and whatnot. My guest, Shauna Wall, alluded to those. Shauna, welcome back. You have in your arsenal now fermented maca, turmeric, black seed, and aloe powders, and you have them in tablets too. Right?
We do. The aloe and the black seed are not tableted, but the turmeric and the maca are currently, just for ease of convenience. You can kind of have that fermentation on the go. The thing about these new products is they are, they're twofold. One, like say you choose the fermented turmeric powder, you're going to get all the benefits of turmeric, right, which is going to be for, mood support, liver support, inflammation, all of that, plus all the benefits of consuming a fermented food, such as the beta-glucans, fermentate, all of the enzymes and antioxidants that are produced during that fermentation. So that's true for any of the products that you choose. My particular favorite right now is the aloe powder. It's fermented aloe with a few other digestive supportive herbs in there, and it's just incredibly soothing, not only to the digestive system, but there's a really calming nature to it. And fermented aloe, going back to the tradition and the science, fermented aloe has been researched to be very, very effective at, protecting intestinal health and delaying human senescence, which is just, old age, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite right now. But you mentioned the black seed, and I want to make sure we get back to that because black seed oils are very popular right now. I'm sure you recognize that, and there's a few of them out there to choose from. The unique thing about New Chapter's black seed, whether you're choosing to try the golden black seed or the fermented powder black seed, we're using the whole plant as we tend to do. So you're getting more than just the oil that a lot of other companies are delivering. You're actually getting the whole plant, and there's a lot of activity in the polar compounds, right? The water-soluble compounds of that plant, not just the oil. So you're really getting the full representation of the seed when you take a New Chapter black seed.
Yeah, we're talking about the power of fermented foods, and you can ask a question or make a comment if you like.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
When they're making moonshine, doesn't involve fermentation, does it? Or does it? Making moonshine?
Not my expertise, but I would say it's a distillation, right?
Don't they use sugar and alcohol? Aren't they using sugar and alcohol?
Well, no, sugar and yeast, and then that makes the alcohol.
They're using sugar and yeast?
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you siphon the alcohol off the top that's produced during fermentation.
Right.
Gary's from Kentucky, so moonshine, fermentation, I wonder. Is it fermentation?
Well, actually, you know what? It's funny you bring this up because there's a local kombucha company up here that, there's a little bit of alcohol produced when you're fermenting kombucha, and so what they did was they created a bit of a still, and they're ciphering off the alcohol and now selling kombucha vodka.
Yeah.
Because they found a way to kind of get it out of the product, because there's a lot of, regulations around kombucha coming. So, yes, I mean, it makes total sense to me that must be what's happening then with moonshine, too.
Well, see here. Yeast is... now you got my curiosity piqued here. Moonshine runners. Alcohol is made during the fermentation process, and fermentation is made possible by combining sugar and yeast. You take sugar, mix it with yeast, and you make the alcohol. Right? And moonshine, and the word, I mean, I don't know much about moonshining, but I know that you got yeast and sugar, put those together, and you make alcohol. Right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And a lot of people used cracked pig chow.
What is that now?
Well, it's what they feed the pigs because the corn is cracked and it's easier for the fermentation to happen. So.
Okay.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, so much of the aroma and the taste of whiskey and moonshine result from the fermentation process. So I'm right, man. Making moonshine is fermentation.
Yeah.
Right? See, those boys up in the hills of Kentucky knew about fermentation in a different way.
Well, that's what people's favorite. They're like, "Oh, I love fermentation. That's beer and wine, right? I eat fermented foods every day." Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah.
So
there's some truth in that, but there's also, there's some biphasic activity happening there for sure.
In these food and in these fermented herbs that you have at New Chapter, the fermented maca, the turmeric, black seed, and aloe, in the powdered form, like the maca, the turmeric, any of those. If you have fermented black seed in a powdered form, just powder.
Sure do.
Okay, so. What would you do? Would you add that to the food? I mean, how do you use these products?
Yeah,
it's really simple. I mean, they're dried and powdered, and so it's about a half a teaspoon, and it's really whatever food you would like to. I mean, smoothies are growing in popularity, so a lot of people choose to.
What about soups and salad? What about soups and
absolutely. I would say the black seed would go really well in any sort of like curry or tomato sauce or anything. The maca, put it on your oatmeal in the morning. I mean, it's really, you can do whatever you like with it. You're not going to harm any of the compounds, etc. It's a really preference. Honestly, there's so much flexibility in how you can take them. And
when we come back, if you could talk about the maca. And why, what maca is and this fermentation of maca. Well, I'll put a little spotlight on that. We'll have the LTN health question of the day, too.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Bodyfigure's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Bodyfigure's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Bodyfigure's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LT on Health question of the day. Gave the answer several times today. The study of fermentation, the science of or knowledge concerning fermentation is called what? Is it called zoology? Is it called zycology? Or is it called zymology? The study of fermentation, the science or knowledge of fermentation. Is it called zoology, zycology, or zymology? Here's the number to call to win a $25 supplement gift card.
877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. And I have a question for Shauna, and that is, you're not, the fermented foods in the products that you have, it's not you're eating a spoonful of it, right? That's not how you take it.
No, I mean, I think that you'd not be happy if you chose to take it that way. I would always want to put it in a mixer, even if that's just like a teeny bit of water to like shoot it down, you know?
Right.
There's no wrong way to do it except maybe just taking a teaspoon of it. Yeah, you wouldn't like that. It would be very drying. But that's a great thing. They mix well with so many things, and they taste really mild and pleasant, and so they're really easy to incorporate in your day-to-day, and especially, I think for those of us who are pretty, well fused into the supplement world, we can really get the, pill fatigue becomes a real issue. It's
this
like,
is good.
God, one more pill to take. Well, here you go. You have those benefits of these amazing health supportive herbs and fermentation in a powder that you can put in your tea, put in your, cereal, your oatmeal, your whatever you want. There's no
salad,
to take
soup,
it.
whatever.
Exactly.
The study of fermentation, the science of fermentation, is it xylology, or I'll just give you two choices, zymology. Which one is it? Xylology or zymology? Study of fermentation. 877-897-8255. Speed dial that. Win that $25 supplement gift card. Maca. What is maca? And then when because you don't want to muck up the maca, fermenting it, right?
Right, exactly. So maca is a pretty familiar supplement for a lot of people, and it's really a Peruvian superfood, if you will. It grows in the very high altitudes in the Andes and is consumed by Peruvian people and has been for quite some time. It's considered to have some adaptogenic properties, meaning that it's really great for balancing your stress response, hormone levels, while at the same time giving you sustained energy. A lot of people like to take it because it gives you that, it just kind of wakes you up without the same crash from caffeine later. I know a lot of people that like to make what they call macchiatos in the morning. Instead of their cappuccino, it's a macchiato. So it's really, really great for anyone who wants a little bit more energy in their day, but that sustained, grounded energy. Popular choice for athletes, and also really great for enhancing libido. So for anyone who, is having any challenges in that area, maca is a known go-to for, libido functioning, as well as just energy overall.
Gary?
Well, I'm really thinking about it. I don't know if it's because I just the sleep apnea is getting back to me, or you want to talk about somebody that can just fall asleep sitting here.
We'll try to keep you awake.
I mean, and it happens, and I don't know what it is. And I've drinking coffee. I've drinking energy drinks. If I have too much sugar, though, I get jittery.
We'll have to get you that. We'll have to get you some. We'll have to get you some fermented maca. Let's go let's go talk to Del. Del, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. Hi, Del.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Today.
Today. Exactly. That's all we got is today. How are you doing
in the
today?
Moment. In the moment.
In the moment. How are you at this moment? At this moment? As my dad used to
pretty
say.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. My dad used to say fine and dandy.
You're talking about fermented foods and all of that stuff, and seems like I go in cycles. Like today now, okay, I'm stimulated to go back to that, but I do for a while, and then something happens, and then pretty soon I realize, it's been 3 months or 6 months.
Yeah, well, these are fermented herbs from New Chapter. Apparently, they're pretty good. From what
you talked me into the golden black seed.
The golden black seed's good stuff. I'm just telling you, I've done some research on black seed. Generally, that the compounds in black seed are amazing, Del. The science is just. I only did a few hours. I just went in and just started rooting around a little bit, say, okay, what does the science tell me about it? And it's pretty amazing. Black seed is something else altogether, for sure. So what is the study of fermentation? Is it xylology or zymology?
Good old Molly.
Yeah,
zymology.
It's zymology. Xylology, by the way, is the study of wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's spelled XYLOLOGY, xylology. It's a study
of. Why do they do that?
Yeah, xylology. And the other one that I mentioned, I dropped it out, was zygology, a play off of psychology. It's a study of zygotes, in case you want to know. And zymology is the science of knowledge or concerning fermentation. Congratulations, Del. It's nice to hear your voice. You doing okay?
Hanging in there, yeah.
In the moment.
In the moment.
How are you in this moment? In this moment, I'm just fine and dandy. Nice to hear you. Thanks. Congratulations. You won a $25 supplementary gift card. We always like hearing from you, man.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. Are you going to California, Miss Wall?
I am. I'm looking at flights right now because we're getting a huge storm up here, and I want to make sure I get there.
You're looking at flights now. You better hurry up, man.
Well, I got one booked, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
I see. I know. I heard that you got a storm coming your way.
Yeah, north.
We're going to come. Hopefully, you'll make it. Well, Gary and I will come find you.
Please do. I'll see you at the breakfast, if not at the booth.
And we'll do the Macarena?
We'll do the...
Gary.
The Maca. Yeah, he's a comedian.
I was going to get that in today. You knew.
He worked that stupid joke in here. No more stupid than my jokes. Nice talking with you. We love you. Your health is your wealth.